Okay, so we have some business here to attend to. I think I want to skip the first one for right now and go on to a few of the others. Accept the resignation of Caitlin Gruber and authorize final check to include all unused 2022 vacation earned for 2023. So my understanding is their vacation for 2023 is earned in 2022.
I move that we accept her resignation with regret. She's been a 9-year employee with the township. She's done a great job. She had a good rapport with a lot of residents in the township, nice follow-up work, always very professional, and we're losing a major asset for the township with her resignation, unfortunately. So, hope she changes her mind. See that happen.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in agreement, give your consent by saying aye.
Aye.
And let's see, now for the authorization of her vacation.
So moved.
Okay,
Yeah.
Second it.
all in agreement?
Aye.
Okay. Township participation in National Night Out. We participated in that 2 years ago. So I think we want to do it again, and that includes an application that we need to file relatively soon here with the National Night Out Committee. So I don't know that we really need to have a motion on that.
I just wanted to add to it so we can talk about it, what our involvement was gonna be, you know, what was done in the past.
I think what we want to do is we want to look at, I mean, you probably were here before, we had some handouts and things like that, so did we want to put a dollar amount on an amount to spend for promotional items?
What we did before.
I know we gave out pens, and I think we had balloons there, and,
Yeah, I don't remember, it's been 2 years already.
yeah, I remember having handout stuff from Maidencreek Township, so, we definitely want to be there with something.
Yeah.
So, do we want to look at about $300?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, $300 isn't getting much nowadays.
I don't know, if you want to make it 500, let's do 500, but.
500 is probably a
More
fair
reasonable.
number for a township.
Okay, that I will need a motion for.
All right, so moved.
Okay, second,
I'll second it.
on agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Dump tank.
You're gonna be in the dump tank.
The dump tank. Sheriff's gonna go there.
I'll make quite a splash, I'll show you that.
You would.
Okay, firework ordinance in comparison with state ordinance to allow fireworks.
Yes, so, basically, I'm not sure how you guys want to amend the ordinance. If we decide what we want to do to amend it, we can advertise it for 7 days once we have the amendment and have a special meeting if you want to do it for this July 4th.
I think we need to talk about it more. I know that there's been a number of complaints with fireworks in the residential areas, and we would need to really talk about what's even being proposed here, because I haven't seen any draft amendment or anything like that.
I don't think they're,
I guess the question is it comparable to the state regulations, which it seems like this pretty much falls along with state regulations.
That was our intent when we adopted it.
Well, however,
I think the state is right now in the process of considering making some changes.
yeah,
Right.
So I haven't read those, so I can't expand upon that any further.
yeah. I haven't seen anything officially approved.
No, nothing's been approved.
Yeah.
So it's still in committee at the state
I
level?
believe.
Okay, so it would be good to wait to see what they're proposing before we make any changes, so that we be consistent with state regulations. I would think.
we'd have to make it again.
Yeah, I mean, because we need to be,
If it-
we have to follow state law,
Correct.
so.
I know there's a requirement to notify the fire chief.
Well, that's for fireworks in excess of what you can purchase
Okay.
as a consumer.
Okay.
But the way it's,
I'd have to look at it.
the way our ordinance is worded, if I
What
understand
section
it
are you in?
correctly,
If you can-
I'm in section 114-4.
Okay.
So, that A, if you read that, it's strangely worded, which is where I missed it. But, person who is at least 18 years of age and meets the requirements of the Fireworks Act, which is the state, as amended, and other applicable law, may purchase, possess, and use consumer fireworks, provided that a person shall not intentionally ignite or discharge. And it lists 1, 2, 3, yada yada. Here's where it comes down. Consumer fireworks are within the R1, low density, R2, moderate density, R2A, high density, R3, village density, or CR, commercial density zoning zoning districts of the township. The way that's worded is you can't even light a sparkler in town. That's how I read it. I just think it's a little.
Well, there's a definition of consumer fireworks,
Sure.
so I don't know, I mean, that's a solicitor question.
Yeah, I'll have
And
to
that's
check that
why
out.
I'm bringing it up, because
Yeah.
it was called out, and I want to make sure that when I have my party on 4th of July, that I'm in compliance.
Okay, so we'll look at this and get back to you on it. And like I said, if you do want to change the ordinance before this July 4th, we'll just have to advertise it and have a special meeting. Okay? So we'll definitely do that.
That's what takes all
So,
those places out.
Is that okay?
So,
is that what you want us to do then?
Take a look at
Sure.
what the definitions are.
And if you also want to look at, if you can find what the state's looking at doing,
Correct.
because I read that they were trying to tighten it up a little bit.
Because there were a lot of complaints statewide about it, so yeah, we always want to be consistent with state law.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, it's
Yeah,
required
it's
to,
required.
I kind of want to question this too. I don't know when it stopped. I remember when I was a resident on Wyatt Drive, the community used to put fireworks on at the elementary school. And then it got moved to the community park, I guess, and somewhere along the line that stopped.
I think the company that was doing it went out of business.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not from any ordinance or
Yeah.
state law.
Do you know what it is, chief?
Yeah, what happened was, when we had them at the elementary school, the residents would complain because the shells that were blowing apart would land on their roofs.
Mhm.
And then we started having community days, and we had the same thing, and that's what brought up this whole ordinance.
Mhm.
So we stopped having fireworks, community fireworks, because the fact was that we were spraying shells on top of people's roofs
Yeah.
and stuff.
That's
And
not,
obviously, they were concerned about having a fire.
Yeah.
Is that company though, hadn't they gone out of business?
Oh, there's plenty of companies that do
Oh,
fireworks.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like-
Because I thought we discussed that at one point and thought about it again, and tried to determine where we might look at putting fireworks off.
Problem is, I don't know where that would be, because everything is high residential, and no matter where you set them off, they're gonna have throw shells all over the place, and depending on the wind that day or
Yeah.
that night, you just don't know.
I've been financing it myself.
Well, so you would have some major concerns anyway, chief?
Yes, I'd recommend to the board of supervisors to leave it as is.
Okay.
That's for a safety reason.
Yeah, understood.
I think that's very important, you know, because that is our first priority with all of this too. And then the fact that the state's going to make changes.
But am I reading that correct, though, that,
I'll have to check on
because
that.
if it's under the consumer fireworks thing,
Correct.
I mean, obviously, that's a little ridiculous if you can't set off a sparkler
Yeah.
or something. You know, that's-
Yeah.
I don't think
Check
anybody's
that
going
out.
to file a complaint over that.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can check into that. Okay, so we're gonna table discussion on cameras, alarm system, inventory control. We're waiting for prices, I would imagine. Is Keith here? Had you talked to anybody about that at all? I guess,
I am waiting for quite a few bids.
Okay.
I think I got 4 for the AV and 3 for the camera, or maybe vice versa. So you'll have a lot to look at, a lot to choose from.
okay, does that also include for our drop-off area up here?
I did not include that because we're still working on trying to figure that out as far as size and
Okay,
I'd like to, you'll have this for the next meeting. Because I'd like to kind of expedite this, and I'm gonna show you why. And anybody wants to see it, they can gladly come and see it. But because I am at Maidencreek Park a lot, this was, there's a few pictures there, you can swipe on through.
Of what?
This was vandalism
Vandalism.
all over
Ah.
the restrooms this week.
Oh, that's horrible.
Very bad. Men's room and ladies' room were both really, really badly defaced.
We're not gonna be able to put cameras in the restrooms.
No, right.
So,
I'm
no,
not-
okay,
Not looking at that, but yes, I think we need
no.
stuff
Better
outside.
not be looking at that.
Because, not only that, we've also had issues where kids are pushing picnic tables over and climbing up and getting up on the roof of the pavilion, on the concession stand and all that stuff, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not saying that we have to police the whole thing, it's not something that we're gonna be able to do that well, but it,
When we do this, I'd like to see it hooked up so that you folks at the police department can also access it, sort of like you do with your cameras now. So I know that's possible, so we're gonna have to look at the whole project. But what we're looking at is the parks in here, and we're gonna be doing our drop-off area as well. I think if we're looking at it as a package, the price may come lower. Not that it's gonna go lower because you're buying more, but because you are buying more, the
Per unit.
discount will include into it. So I think we would actually be beneficial to look at everything. So we'll wait until we get those prices and everything.
Is that a question for Kate? Are you working on all of these issues, including the gas and diesel tank inventory systems, control systems?
As far as what?
Well, getting a price,
For card system.
a card system for the gas and diesel tanks?
I don't know that we asked,
I didn't realize I was supposed to do that.
No.
Well, it's been on the list, so I'm just asking who's been working
Yeah,
on that, if
that wasn't-
anybody. So it sounds like nobody?
yeah, it sounds like something we'd have to add to the list.
Can you check into that, or, I mean, I can check into it to myself, but I wanna make sure that that we address it, because it's in our budget, and I think it's important to have.
I'll tell you what, Keith, if you wanna look at that and maybe talk to, because the system we put in is one that's gonna have to probably include, you know, the diesel and the gas, and whether we're looking at card or how we're looking at that, we wanna be able to control, or at least know where it's going.
Okay.
Not that you want more work to do. Anybody with, okay, so now we're
Bring
gonna,
an executive session.
I mean, if we could have an executive session if you would like to do that,
About
to
the
discuss.
Township manager.
yeah, I
think
think we
that's
need to
probably-
do that
yeah.
first, and
Yeah.
we shouldn't be in executive session too long, I wouldn't imagine.
Because we had some things to continue to talk about that was left over from Monday. So, any?
My excuse?
Oh, you are.
Declaration here.
What's that?
I was asking if I was excused.
Yeah,
You
you
are.
got for your agenda.
Yes, sir.
Dave, I'm on the committee for the Master Night Out.
Okay.
I'll give each one of these, okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session at 8:11.